All right, it is time for our Week 10 version of X's and HOGE'S. Week 10 already. When this game gets past halftime, we'll already be in the second half of the season. New York Giants coming to town, 2-7, certainly going through their struggles. A game the Bears should win. Noon on Fox, we get Greg Olsen on the call this week, which is always great. And this line moved yesterday. It's been 3.5 since it opened on Sunday, and it moved to 4.5 on Wednesday night. Over/under is 47.5. So Bears certainly set up to have a game that they should win, obviously. Now, the weather is going to be interesting. First time I've had to talk about the weather a little bit. 38 degrees. We know it's going to be cold. There is a chance of snow Saturday night into Sunday morning, so it might affect your tailgates. I don't know how much it'll actually affect the game. I'm sure they'll have the field covered and nice and warm and cozy. But it's going to be windy, 20 to 30 miles an hour out of the north-northwest, so that could definitely affect the kicking game. Something to think about as we continue to talk about Cairo Santos, Jake Moody, and that whole situation. So keep an eye on the wind, and it's going to be cold. Bundle up if you're going to the game. Giants coming off a 34-24 loss to the 49ers at home last week. Brian Dable in his fourth season, certainly under the gun, a little bit on the hot seat. 20-39-1 in his 4 seasons. Remember, they did make the playoffs the first year he was the head coach there, and they won a playoff game. Mike Kafka's their OC. I put him in purple for Mark Carman. Go Cats. Of course, the St. Rita guy from south side of Chicago as well. He's in his 4th year as the OC. They've kind of gone back and forth on calling plays between Dable and Kafka. Kafka calling plays this year. He also has the assistant head coaching title, which he picked up last year. Shane Bowen is their 2nd year DC. He was Mike Vrabel's DC in Tennessee, but squarely on the hot seat right now. There's been a lot of talk about how the Giants should be firing him. So we'll see what the state of the defense is in this week for the New York Giants and see how much the Bears can take advantage of that. Their special teams coordinator is Michael Gabriel. He's in his 2nd year. Couple special teams notes. Gunnar Olszewski, definitely somebody the Bears need to be aware of. He is a good returner, and the Bears have obviously struggled in their kickoff coverage, punt coverage, mainly more so on kickoff. But Olszewski is their main returner, and he could be a factor on Sunday. Graham Gano, their kicker, is dealing with a neck injury. I don't know how much that will affect him playing, but he didn't practice yesterday. It's not his leg, so it's a neck. By the way, the Giants have 5 guys on the injury report with neck injuries. I've never seen that, I think, ever. So they got to check out the necks, apparently. All right, we'll talk Bears offense. Actually, first, let's talk about who is been added to this team. Paulson Adebo is their number 1 corner. He's banged up right now, missed the last couple games. Javon Holland is their safety who they picked up, and he missed last week as well. Seems like he's trending to come back. So we'll have to continue to watch that. Obviously, they added Russell Wilson in the offseason. He quickly got benched. That wasn't working out. Roy Robertson-Harris, former Bear. I've always liked his game, and he's got a big role in this defense, so we'll talk about him in a second. In the draft, big draft pick, they drafted Abdul Carter. He's kind of being worked in, played about 53% of the snaps last week, so it's not like he's a full-time player quite yet. Obviously, very talented coming out of Penn State, though. Jackson Dart, their quarterback out of Ole Miss. Their 2nd first-round pick, quickly became the starter. We'll talk more about him in a second. Darius Alexander out of Toledo, who I really like coming out of the draft, was their 3rd-round pick. And in the 4th round, Cam Skattebo, who was off to a great start, and then obviously suffered that gruesome injury a couple weeks ago, so they do not have him anymore. But Skattebo was off to really was exciting and fun to watch, so they're missing him right now. In terms of your EPA per play, look at this I put it in green. I gave him the benefit of the doubt, getting up to 11th, the Chicago Bears. That offense keeps getting better and better. The Giants defense, 30th. Another week where the Bears are playing a bad defense, and they need to take advantage of it. And got to be aware of the pass rushers, which we got to talk about in a second as well. This defense is not as bad as the Bengals. Defensively, somehow the Bears defense stayed 19th in EPA per play after last week. So it must have been a bad week defensively across the board in the league. Giants, they're middle of the road. You got to take them a little bit seriously on offense. They're definitely not bad offensively. So it will be a test for the Bears defense. As we look at the Bears offense first, going up against the Giants defense, how about this? EPA per dropback, up to 10th. So, guys, this is happening. Caleb Williams, passing offense, top 10 right now in EPA per dropback, and it keeps trending up. Same thing with the EPA per rush, still only 17th, but remember, maybe a month ago when we were doing this segment, they were dead last in the league. So that keeps moving up, moving up, moving up. Explosive percentage, that's actually been high all season. 8th. Depends on what numbers. I mean, I know some count as the Bears' most explosive offense in the league right now. Just kind of depends on what you look at. I wanted to focus on this, though. Single high defenses. Now, the Giants run a lot of single high. They're 10th in the league in single high usage with middle field close, one safety over the top. The Bears have been killing this, though. They're 5th in the league right now when they get single high coverage. So that is certainly something to watch in this matchup that I think favors the Chicago Bears. Talk about the injuries. First, a lot of these wide receivers still on the injury report. DJ Moore dealing with that hip and groin. He's been playing through it. He should be fine. Rome Odunze, I'm going to guess he's fine too in playing through this. They did add the ankle. Last week it was just heel. Now it's ankle/heel. I mentioned this on the show the other day. Watching the tape Sunday, he doesn't look 100% to me running routes. And I think that was a factor in maybe why he only got 3 targets, 0 catches the other day. Obviously, he still has to catch it when it's thrown his way. Now, he still blocked his ass off in that football game. So I don't know if it's affecting him to the point where he can't play. But the route running, I think, is being affected. We'll see if DeAndre Swift comes back with that groin. He was limited in practice last week. If not, Kyle Monangai obviously had an amazing game last week. But he was also on the injury report yesterday with an ankle, something to watch. Cole Kmet trending back from the concussion he suffered on Sunday. He was limited in practice, so we'll see if he can get all the way back and be a go by Sunday. I want to talk about these rookies, though. Obviously, if Cole can't play, Colston Loveland was your NFC Offensive Player of the Week last week, which is huge. You got to imagine they're going to continue to get him involved, whether Cole plays or not, go with more 12 personnel. Monangai's been great. And then Luther Burden was out last week with a concussion, but he was full go in practice yesterday. So I'm going to circle number 10. I want to see more of number 10 this week, assuming he's back from the concussion. With DJ Moore, Rome Odunze dealing with injuries, get him some more reps. The same way you've gotten Monangai going, Colston Loveland going. Let's get more out of the second-round pick, Luther Burden. See if they can get some explosives with him in the offense. Make that a focus this week, Ben Johnson. A lot of injuries. I mentioned Hollins dealing with one, Adebo. Those are 2 of their veteran players in the secondary. But otherwise, I'm going to watch mainly how these pass rushers, because while this defense isn't great, unlike the Bengals last week, who basically had a bunch of names you didn't know, they weren't really good. We know Kayvon Thibodeau. We know Brian Burns. Abdul Carter, first-round pick. Dexter Lawrence in here. Roy Robertson Harris is a serious player who's been in this league now for a while and always been affected wherever he's been. So this guy right here, Darnell Wright, is playing at an all-pro level right now in the last few weeks. So if I'm the Giants and I'm turning on the tape, I am more worried about how can I take advantage of this matchup here against Theo Benedet. Now, Benedet's been great in the run game, still a liability at times in the pass protection area. So whether it's Thibodeau, Burns, Carter, moving these guys around, I'm looking to exploit Theo Benedet as much as I can. Obviously, if you're Ben Johnson, use Cole Kmet over here. Use Ozzie Trapillo in the heavy sets, bringing him on the field. Colston Loveland, whoever it is, get Theo some help. As long as they can protect over here, I think the Bears will be just fine in this game and should be able to use their weapons to score points as they have recently. Moving on to the other side of the ball, New York Giants offense versus the Bears defense. Again, injuries are a story for both of these teams. Tight ends hurt right now for the Giants. John Michael Schmitz, JMS, who we talked a lot about in the draft a couple years ago, he's banged up. The right tackle's banged up. I don't know what's going on half the time with their wide receivers and who they're playing. They just don't have enough of them. But there is one guy we got to pay attention to I'll talk about in a second. EPA per rush. This is a good running team. Now, it was better with Cam Scatterbo. So Tyrone Tracy out of Purdue, still a good player. But I think their run game not quite as strong without Scatterbo. EPA per drop back. I know Jackson Dart's given this offense kind of a spark. He's been fun to watch, but it's not like he's been outstanding either. One thing I wanted to note on the Bears getting pressure recently, and it's a lot of Montez Sweat stepping up, playing better the last few weeks. Their pressure percentage keeps trending upward, now up to 17th. That's good because when the Bears do get pressured, they are one of the better teams in taking advantage of it with a good EPA. So as long as they can continue to create that pressure, it's leading to good things for the defense, which brings us to the guy we got to talk about here in Austin Booker, because with Dio Dangbo now out for the year, Austin Booker, first time he's on the board this season. Of course, it was on IR. Had a huge play last week. Sack, strip, fumble. Bears got the ball. They need more of that here from Austin Booker coming off the edge. And now's the time. Now's the time to take advantage of it if you're Austin Booker, young, exciting player. In terms of some of these injuries, though, Kevin Byard was on the injury report yesterday. I'm not terribly worried about it, but it is a back and an ankle. Keep that in mind. This is more the one I'm worried about. TJ Edwards has been kind of dealing with this hamstring issue since training camp, since the end of training camp. He's missed some games, was back, seemed to be good to go, but then his snaps were limited. He was on and off the field late in the second half last week, so certainly one to watch over the next couple days if TJ Edwards cannot play. This is actually a mistake. Tyreek Stevenson is no longer on the injury report, so he should be good to go, which is good news. And then I think the one other thing I just want to talk about in terms of matchups when it comes to the Giants, Wan'Dale Robinson. Now, he's sort of a boom or bust type player, but he will beat you over the top if you're not ready for it. So CJ Gardner-Johnson here playing in his second game. I thought there was some good things last week that he did. Obviously, coverage was still an issue at times for the secondary as a whole, but this is really the guy, even more so than Darius Slayton, that worries me, Wan'Dale Robinson, just mainly because of what the Bears have been doing, sometimes losing guys in coverage, giving up explosives, and that's why I want to watch Kevin Byard. Of course, he's the safety over the top, so if he's banged up in this game, that could affect it as well. But I think as long as the Bears are able to keep things in front of them, keep that pass rush ticking up, guys, this should be a game that the Bears win comfortably. I know we've said that before and it hasn't worked out, but it did kind of go that way against the Saints a couple weeks ago. I feel the same way about this game. We'll see if the Bears can get it done on Sunday in what will be a cold, maybe snowy game as well at Soldier Field.